Today we are solving every problem of Module 1 of SAT Linear Practice Test number 1 in the math section. Stick with me for the next 30 or so minutes and we're going to see how to solve every problem that comes your way. Some of the problems are easy, some of the problems are really hard. All of the problems are similar to what you can expect to see on the next SAT. Come along with me and let me know if you have any comments or questions below. Let's get to it. Come with me as we do the entire first math module of Linear SAT Practice Test number 1. You can download this for free on the College Board's website and you can get an answer key as well. We're going to go through all 27 questions included in Module 1. Something to note is that the real SAT will only have 22 questions in each math module. Here we go. We're going to do as much as we can, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Now, take a quick look at the reference sheet. If you see any questions on triangles, circles, rectangles, or three-dimensional shapes, you may be able to find some answers here. Let's get started with question number 1. What is 10% of 470? Well, we know that percent is x over 100. We know is equals. We know of is times. So x, or what, is equal to 10 over 100 times 470. X is equal to 47. B is our best answer on question number 1. Look how fast we're flying. Let's keep going. Question number 2. Which equation has the same solution as the given equation? Now, you might be tempted to solve for x here, but look at this. All 4 of our answer choices have 4x. So all I'm going to do is subtract 6 and get x times 4 is equal to 12. Boom. Do not waste time on these easy questions. You'll need them when the questions get hard. How about question number 3? The total cost in dollars to rent a surfboard consists of a $25 service fee and a $10 per hour rental fee. A person rents a surfboard for T hours and intends to spend a maximum of $75 to rent the surfboard. Which inequality represents the situation? Now, luckily, I don't have to decide if it should be greater than or less than 75. All 4 answers are defined the same way. I know that there's a one-time $25 service fee, so I want to see plus 25. There's a $10 per hour, so I definitely want to see 10T. The only one that gives me 10T plus 25 is answer choice D. C doesn't have the $10 per hour, A doesn't have the one-time charge, and B has the coefficients reversed. Man, we are flying. Let's head to question number 4. The function g is defined by g of x is equal to x squared plus 9. For which value of x is g of x equal to 25? I'm going to plug in 25 for g of x is equal to x squared plus 9. I'll subtract 9 on both sides. 16 is equal to x squared. Now I'll square root both sides to get x alone. X is going to equal, because we're taking the square root of a square, plus or minus 4, but the only option available here is A. Let's go on to question number 5. Are you guys getting bored of how well you're doing? Are you like, wait, this is so easy. I'm the biggest math genius in the world. I don't blame you. Each face of a fair 14-sided die is labeled with a number from 1 through 14, with a different number appearing on each face. If the die is rolled one time, what is the probability of rolling a 2? Well, there are 14 different options. There's only one option of rolling a 2, so 1 over 14. Rolling a 12 is not the same as rolling a 2, just so you know. Question number 6. A printer produces posters, I feel like this is like a vocal warm-up for a musical, at a constant rate of 42 posters per minute. At what rate in posters per hour does the printer produce the posters? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. My 4th grade choir teacher would be really, really proud of that one. Now we're going from minutes to hours, so I know the number is going to get bigger. I know that there are 60 minutes in an hour. So I'm going to multiply 60 by 42 to get the number of posters we make in an hour. 60 times 42 is 2,520. We create this many posters per hour at the printer. She sells seashells by the seashore. Great work on number 6, everyone. Let's keep going. Why not? We're on such a roll. Question 7. The function f is defined by the equation f of x is equal to 7x plus 2. What is the value of f of x when x equals 4? You probably notice how much function notation we're looking at. Well, what are we going to do? I'm going to plug in 4 for x. 7 times 4 plus 2 is equal to 30. Boom. We've done so many questions in such a short time. Let's look at question number 8. A teacher is creating an assignment worth 70 points, and you'll notice that all 4 answer choices have 70 as the equals. The assignment will consist of questions worth 1 point, questions worth 3 points. Which equation represents the situation where x represents the number of 1-point questions and y represents the number of 3-point questions? Well, I want 1 to go with x, which is just the same as saying x, right? We don't need that 1 coefficient. I want 3 to go with y. So x plus 3y, and I want that to equal the 70 points total. D is my best answer. Wow, we're flying. I feel like Peter Pan. How about question number 9? Our first triangle geometry question of the module. Right triangles LMN and PQR are similar, where L and M correspond to P and Q respectively. Angle M has a measure of 53 degrees. What is the measure of angle Q? Okay, well, we know L and M correspond to P and Q. I want to draw these because I'm going to get confused if we don't. I don't really know anything about their sizes. I just know that they're similar, so they have proportional sides. What is my right angle? Well, I know my right angle isn't going to be M. M is going to have a measure of 53, and M corresponds with Q. Q has an angle measure of 53 as well, because similar triangles have the same angle measures. Let's just make sure really quick. M corresponds to Q, so if M is 53, Q is 53. Boom, 9 up, 9 down. I feel like Steph Curry. How about question number 10? The solution to the given system of equations is x comma y. What is the value of x? Well, I see that we have y defined, and so I'm just going to substitute in negative 3x for y. 4x plus negative 3x is equal to 15. X is equal to 15. There's no need to solve for y on this one. There's no need to do any crazy graphing. Just knowing what to look for is going to save you so much time. Do not fall victim to going to Desmos on every question. It is not the best use of your time. Let's go to question number 11. Which of the following is the most appropriate linear model for the data shown in the scatter plot? I don't want to calculate the slope here. I'm feeling lazy and I don't have a lot of time. I know that this slope is negative, right? If I drew a line of best fit, it would look something like this. I can see that the slope is negative, so I don't want C or D as my answer choice. If you're not sure how I found that the slope is negative, put a comment below and I'll try to answer your question. What should we do instead? Well, I see that the y-intercept here is around 10, certainly not negative 10, that would be down here, which makes B the best answer. I cannot believe how fast we are crushing this. It's almost embarrassing how good we are at this test. I'm worried the SAT is going to find out how good we are and ban us from taking it. Question 12, the graph of y equals f of x is shown where the function is defined by this giant thing here and a, b, c, and d are constants. Our first constant question of the day. For how many values of x does f of x equal 0? Now, if you are a really, really smart student, you might see this and be like, oh crap, I have to figure out all of these constants. No, you don't. You just have to see how many values of x does y equal 0 here, here, and here. Just 3. Do not let your brain overthink these questions. Some of these are so easy, and if you overthink them, you will waste time. Moving on, we're going to go to question number 13. Vivian bought party hats and cupcakes for $71. Each package of party hats, I'm going to call the party hats H, cost $3, and each cupcake, I'm going to call that C, cost $1. If Vivian bought 10 packages of party hats, how many cupcakes did she buy? Now, what we need to do here is we need to solve for the number of cupcakes. We have to create our own equation. I know that it's going to equal 71 in total, and I know that each hat is $3 and each cupcake is $1. So I could say 1C or just C. Now, I'm going to put in 10 for H. 71 is equal to 3 times 10 plus C. 71 is equal to 30 plus C. C is equal to 41. Vivian bought 41 cupcakes. Now, let's talk. Why would you buy 41 cupcakes? Just get 4 dozen, 48. 41 is the most random number of cupcakes to buy. Just round up on a case like this. If you're Vivian. Vivian, if you have any questions, let me know. 14 is easy. You could go to Desmos on this one and you would solve it right away. All you would have to do is put this into Desmos and see where it crosses the x-axis. You could also just factor it. What multiplies to negative 24 and adds to positive 10? x plus 12, x minus 2. We have two solutions, x equals negative 12 and x equals 2. On the digital SAT, you can type in a negative number, so it's up to you which one you choose, but don't choose both. Question number 15 is actually pretty tricky, so stick with me on this exponential question. Bacteria are growing in a liquid growth medium. There are 300,000 cells per milliliter during an initial observation. The number of cells per milliliter doubles every 3 hours. How many cells per milliliter will there be 15 hours after the initial observation? You might want to create an equation for this. You might want to try to graph it. I'm going to make a table instead. I'm going to call this the number of hours. I'm going to call this the number of cells. At the beginning, at time 0, there were 300,000 cells. Then after 3 hours, it doubles. So 600,000, and I'm just gonna do this up to 15. At 6 hours, we're gonna have 1.2 million. It's doubling each time. At 9, we're gonna have 2.4 million. At 12, we're gonna have 4.8 million. And do you see what we're gonna have at 15? 15, we're gonna have 9.6 million cells per milliliter. Boom. Making a table is your best strategy here. Do not try to go above and beyond. Save your energy for the hard questions coming up. 16, I think, is easier than 15, so it's nice to give our brains a little break. Which expression is equivalent to 6x to the 8th y squared plus 12x squared y squared? I need to factor something out. Look at these 4 options. What can I factor out of each term? I can definitely get a 6 out. I can get an x squared out. And I can get a y squared out of both terms. What am I left with? I'm left with x to the 6th plus 2. Boom, C is our best answer. Can you tell here when we redistribute that this is going to be exactly the same thing? If you're not sure, redistribute it and check. Great, everyone. 16 up, 16 down. We are Caitlin Clark over here. We're going to go on now to question number 17, and this is where things start to get hard. Question number 17 is a lot harder than it looks. It's a conceptual question, so Desmos won't come in handy here. A neighborhood consists of a 2-hectare park and a 35-hectare residential area. The total number of trees in the neighborhood is 3,934. The equation 2x plus 35y equals 3934 represents this situation. Which of the following is the best interpretation of x in this context? Well, I know that 2x represents the hectares of the park. So if I see residential area, I'm going to eliminate D, I'm going to eliminate B. So now at least I have a 50-50 chance. If x represented the total number of trees in the park and I multiplied it by 2, I would now have double the number of trees in the park. I don't want that. I just want the number of trees in the park. So my best answer here is A. It's just the average number of trees per hectare in the park. Multiplied by 2 is going to give us the total number of trees in the park. That way we'll get to the total number of trees. That is 3,934. Boom, another one up and down. Question 18 is a cool one. I encourage you to not go to Desmos here because it's going to take you a long time to type it in. Instead, we're going to do an even cooler trick. The graph shows the relationship between the number of shares of stock from company A, X, and the number of shares of stock from company B, Y, that Simone can purchase. Which equation could represent this relationship? What I want to do here, instead of calculating like the slope or anything like that, I'm going to take a look at A and C. I know that my slope here is negative, so A doesn't make any sense. It has a slope of positive 8. C doesn't make any sense. It has a slope of positive 12. From here, I'm just going to plug in a point instead of rearranging everything. I'm going to plug in the point 0, 40, which happens to be my y-intercept. When x is equal to 0, in D, will 8 times 40 equal 480? No, it'll equal 320. But will 12 times 40 equal 480? Yes. B is my best answer. We saved so much time just by process of elimination and plugging in a point. Let this be a lesson. Let's go on to question number 19. This is a great circle question. And if you're not super strong on circles, you better be because they're showing up everywhere on the digital SAT and ACT. Circle A has a radius of 3n and circle B has a radius of 129n, where n is a positive constant. Another constant question. The area of circle B is how many times the area of circle A? Let's calculate the areas of both. The area of A is pi times 3n squared, which is equal to 9n squared pi. right? This is our area formula, pi r squared. What's the area of B? It's equal to pi times 129n squared. 129 squared is equal to 16,641. I know you guys knew that, but just in case, n squared times pi. Now, how many times bigger is it? I'm going to divide 16,641 n squared pi by 9n squared pi. You'll notice that the n squared pi's cancel out, and I'm just left with 16,641 over 9, which is 1849. D is our best answer. Woohoo! Crushing it! Shall we go on to question number 20? The frequency table summarizes the 57 data values in a data set. What is the maximum data value in the data set? If you don't see that this is 14 right away, I cannot help you. This is way too easy. Do not be fooled on a question like this. This is just the maximum value. Now, if we didn't have any 14s, the maximum value would be 12 because there are no 13s. How about question number 21? This is a great question. A circle in the xy plane has a diameter with endpoints 2, 4 and 2, 14. If we were to graph this, we would see 2, 4, 2, 14. It's going to look something like this, which means our diameter goes from 4 to 14. The diameter is 10. What does that mean about the radius? The radius is 5. And that's all we have to do for this question. X minus 2 squared plus y minus 9 squared is equal to 5 squared. The radius is 5, so r is equal to 5. Now, just real quick, what does this mean? This means that our center is at 2, positive 9. Right here, halfway in between the diameter. Great. That seemed hard, but it wasn't. But now things are getting pretty hard. Are we ready for some really difficult questions? Let's see. We're making amazing progress and we are almost at the finish line. Let's take question number 22. The measure of angle R is 2 pi over 3 radians. The measure of angle T is 5 pi over 12 radians greater than the measure of angle R. What is the measure of angle T in degrees? First, I want to put 2 pi over 3 into over 12, and that way I can add these together. So 2 pi over 3 is the same as 8 pi over 12. To get there, I just multiplied by 4 over 4, which is the same as multiplying by 1. Now I'm going to add 5 pi over 12 plus 8 pi over 12 to give me 13 pi over 12. And that's radians. Now, I know, and the reference sheet tells me this too, that there are 360 degrees in a circle and 2 pi radians. So pi radians is equal to 180 degrees. We're really close here. To convert from degrees to radians, or from radians to degrees, I should say, we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. So 13 pi over 12 times 180 over pi. The pi's are going to cancel out, and we're going to be left with 195. Our best answer here is answer choice C. Radians are a really confusing topic, but they only show up a couple times and in a very similar format each time. So master this question and you should be good. Question number 23 tricks a lot of students, and I hope that you're not one of them. A certain town has an area of 4.36 square miles. What is the area in square yards of this town? I know we're looking for square yards. That's equal to 4.36 square miles. What a lot of students do is they'll do this conversion. 1 mile, 1760 yards, and then they'll call it a day. We have to do this one more time because we have miles squared, which is 2 miles. And we want yards squared, which is 2 yards. So now I can multiply across 4.36 times 1760 times 1760. And when I do that, I'm going to get 13,505,536 square yards. If you only do the conversion once, you are not going to get the right answer on this problem. We're not canceling out miles, we're canceling out square miles. Big difference. We're almost at the finish line. We are so close. Question 24. For line H, the table shows 3 values of x and their corresponding values of y. Line K is the result of translating line H 5 units down in the xy plane. What is the x-intercept of line K? Well, I'm going to make my new y's here. I'm going to call this, I don't know what I'm going to call it. Maybe y. Let me call this nothing. That'll be better. So I know that I'm translating each unit down 5. So this is going to be 125. This is going to be 155. And this is going to be 173. The hardest part is just subtracting by 5. Now we're looking for the x-intercept of the line. In order to get this, we're going to need to find the equation of the line. How do I do that? Well, first I need to find the slope. And it's not too hard to find the slope. We're going to do y2 minus y1, 155 minus 125 over x2 minus x1, which is 23 minus 18. We'll be left with 30 over 5, which is equal to a slope of 6. Now, in order to find the equation of the line, I'm going to plug in a point. I'm going to do point slope form. Y minus 125, I'm going to go with the first point, is equal to 6 times x minus 18. And I could distribute it out, but I know that the x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So I'm just going to set y equal to 0 here. I'm going to say negative 125 is equal to 6 times x minus 18. Now I'm going to distribute out the 6. I'm just saving a teeny tiny bit of time here. 6 times negative 18 is equal to negative 108. I'm going to add 108 to both sides, and I'm going to get negative 17 is equal to 6x. I'll divide both sides by 6, and I'll get x is equal to negative 17/6. Boom, D is our right answer. It's a tricky one. It requires a lot of legwork, so do not give up on a problem like this. 3 more. A constant question. In the xy plane, the graph of the equation y equals negative x squared plus 9x minus 100 intersects the line y equals c at exactly 1 point. What is the value of c? Now we could go straight to Desmos and see where this line is. I would plug in y equals all of these 4 points. We would get our answer pretty quick. Mathematically, I'll just show you here. We know that it's only going to intersect one time at the vertex. We have a parabola like this, and then a straight line, a horizontal line, is only going to intersect at the vertex. So what is the x-coordinate of the vertex? And then we can use the x-coordinate to find the y-coordinate. The x-coordinate of the vertex is negative b over 2a. And in this case, it's going to be negative 9 over 2 times negative 1. So negative 2. Now, we know that this simplifies to 4.5, and I can find the y value by plugging in my x value. So I'll do negative 4.5 squared plus 9 times 4.5 minus 100. I'm going to do this all in my calculator from here. Again, Desmos is a good option for this one. I would even encourage you to go to Desmos as quickly as possible on this one. I just want to show you what it looks like mathematically, just so you can see. I'm going to end up with negative 79.75. And I know that 319 divided by 4 is that number, so C is my best answer here. If I didn't know that, I could put math frac here and get this into fractional form. Nice, we have 2 more to go. I know this one is tough. Remember, Desmos is your friend. 26 is a really, really crazy one. And I see this system of equations, and my thought is like, well, maybe I can just solve for x and y, but take a closer look here. This equation is the same as this equation, just multiplied by 5. So we're only really given one equation. We're trying to figure out which of the following points lies on the graph of each equation in the xy plane for the given system. Now, I could go to Desmos again. I could literally plug in what we say here on a certain line and find it. Or I could plug in this point for x and this point for y, and we're going to get to our answer that way as well. Let me show you what happens when I plug in b into this top equation. So our equation is 2x, and x is negative 3r over 2 plus 7 halves, plus 3y, which is 7 halves, is equal to 7. Is this going to happen? Well, let's see. When I multiply, distribute out this 2, I'll get negative 3r plus 7. And sorry, this isn't 7 halves, this is r. Right, the y value is r. Plus 3r is equal to 7. Well, look at that. My 3r's are going to cancel out with my negative 3r, and I'll just be left with 7 equals 7. That is true in every single case. In A, it's not going to be true in every case. C, it's not going to be true in every case. And D, it's not going to be true in every case. That's why B is our best answer here. Ooh, tricky, but not tricky enough for you. Again, you can go to Desmos. If you were to graph this line in Desmos and this point, and then you adjusted the slider, you would see that the point on the slider literally goes on every spot on the line. So that's another way that you can do this problem. Can you believe it? We're at the last problem. Wow, this was a hard module 1. Question 27. The perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 624 centimeters. The height of this triangle is k root 3 centimeters, where k is a constant. What is the value of k? An equilateral triangle has 3 equal sides. Each side here is going to be 624 divided by 3, or 208. 208, 208. This whole thing here is 208. Now, an equilateral triangle also has 60-degree angles. I hope that that's something you know. If it's not, you really need to know it. So we're looking for this line, right? This vertical height. And I see that this vertical height is creating a 30, 60, 90 triangle. The reference sheet will tell you that a 30, 60, 90 triangle has the following side length relationships: x, x root 3, and 2x. Our hypotenuse, our 2x side, is 208, which means the x side is 104 and the x root 3 side is 104 root 3. We're going to plug in 104 for k. We're going to get the point. And would you look at that? 27 out of 27. Nice work. We did it. 27 questions. Easy. We didn't even break a sweat. Great work. Let me know if you have any questions below. I'll be happy to answer them. And as always, happy studying.